everyone. A very warm welcome to our latest episode of Thoughtcast. In this episode, we will explore the factors that are driving the growth of CRE and especially flex space market in Delhi NCR region. Joining me for this discussion is Suprita Kumar. She is a senior director at Cushman Wakefield. She comes with over 18 years of work experience with 16 years in corporate real estate alone and specializes in North India CRE markets. Throughout her career, she has played a critical role in advising occupiers in their real estate decisions and designing their workplace strategies pan-India. Welcome, Suprita. We are glad to have you over for today's episode.
Thank you for having me over, Sukirti. Looking forward to an engaging conversation this afternoon.
Thank you, Suprita. So, Suprita, Delhi NCR has been a major contributor to CRE market growth for a long time now. In fact, in the last fiscal year alone, Delhi NCR was one of the top 4 cities in terms of flex seat demand. We'd like to know from you what's driving this phenomenal growth in the market. To understand this, my first question is, how have occupier sentiments evolved since 2020? And how is it correlated with flex space demand in Delhi NCR?
Sure. So, Kirti, I believe even before the pandemic hit us in the Indian real estate markets and NCR, there was already an established trend towards flex workspaces. Some of the occupiers were gradually preferring to lease office space in flex spaces, primarily because of the benefits and advantages that it offered. Flex workspaces is all-in-one sort of provider for office space requirements. Now, to talk a little more about the evolved occupier sentiment and the reasons for this momentum towards flex workspaces. As the name suggests, there is a lot of flexibility in the tenure that an occupier gets as compared to conventional and stringent office space leases, which have a fixed lock-in. There is reduced capex. There is limited capex from an occupier's perspective. Post the pandemic, there has been a lot of decentralization of office spaces. We call them touchdown offices. And flex workspaces actually provide agility to enable workforce to work out of multiple locations in the same city. Flex workspaces is a single check payment for an occupier as compared to multiple components in a conventional office lease. It also cuts down stages and timelines involved from the selection of a property to the overall fit out, and hence allowing the occupiers to focus on their core competency of their business.
Wow, Suprita, I must say that's very interesting. The way you've highlighted, why flex has become so important since 2020. Moving on to my next question, what demand patterns based on industries and products have you noticed in the NCR market?
So to answer that question, Sukirti, I'd first talk about the industries that we've been witnessing momentum in take-up in terms of flex workspace. First of all, it is startups, and this would include the entire gamut of firms from edtech firms to fintech firms, as well as occupiers in the professional services, engineering, and BFSI. We do believe that in the NCR market lately, there's been a trend of a lot of online gaming firms which have taken up spaces in flex offices. And this has been towards Noida particularly. The second category of occupiers who is looking at this scenario are the ones who are not very firm or who do not have fixed headcount and growth plans, and hence they have committed space in flex spaces. Interestingly, the more conventional and the more stable occupiers, the likes of telecom, banking, the BFSI sector and pure play consulting have also now started believing and committing to the enterprise solutions, that is the managed office solutions that a FlexSpace offers. In terms of your part of the question, which meant what products, meeting rooms have always been in demand, and more so after the pandemic, where people are looking at meeting rooms to have their general catch-ups. Conference rooms, which offer facilities for trainings, have also seen a lot of momentum over the last 12 to 24 months.
That's again very insightful, Suprita, I must say. I think for anyone who's wanting to delve deeper into what's working for flex space market, in terms of products or industries, that's a very, very insightful take. So moving on, my next question for you is that what is the outlook for the flex space market in Delhi NCR according to you, say in the next 2 years? Where do you think it's headed?
So, Kirti, I believe that the NCR market has gained a lot of momentum in terms of leasing. Leasing demand and activity is back, and we are very happy about that, of course. And we do foresee that this will continue in the near future. Just to quote some statistics, in the last year, the NCR market saw a take-up of about 8,000 workstations, which is a 65% growth year on year as compared to the year gone by. So there is immense demand in this sector. And like I spoke in the previous question, that the kind of industries that are coming forward is only growing. So there is a lot of momentum we continue to see. And in terms of other than flex workspace demand as well, NCR has always been a hotspot for CREs. I've been in the market over 16 years, and I believe that, the Delhi, Noida, Gurgaon market, each one of them has something very distinct to offer, and everybody finds a spot. Each occupier looking at some sort of real estate finds a spot in one of these locations. Also, with the pandemic and the last 24 months, we've been witnessing a lot of churn in the market, which is largely to do with optimization. When I say that, I mean that occupiers may be looking at potentially downgrading in terms of area, but upgrading in terms of the overall building quality. So there is that demand that is created there. The second category is towards, the lease re-engagements that we see when there are renewals coming up. So when there are renewals, you have occupiers wanting us to represent them and put forward their request to the developer in terms of, some benefits in terms of a long-term stay with them. So there has been that churn in the market, which has kept demand very active. And lastly, not to forget, employee wellness, employees return to work programs are all very high priorities for business now. And firms are looking at getting people back in much better and upgraded facilities.
Wow. Some very interesting points that you've highlighted here, and especially the 65% growth year on year is a very encouraging number that you've mentioned here. My next question, Suprita, is while we've discussed the outlook, what innovations in terms of technology, design, sustainability, etc., you think that the flex, workspace players in Delhi NCR market should next focus on?
Sukirti, I think technology and innovation have become such important and essential components in today's time. There was a time that things used to be looked at as very next level, but today these are priorities on ground, and technology will only keep increasing and evolving in my mind. More new age, more technology enabled applications or solutions is what occupiers are demanding us to get them from notable operators like yourselves. And the idea of sustainability has also been going hand in hand. There is a lot of awareness and information that occupiers have with respect to green buildings, LEED certifications, etc. So it is now onus on the flex workspaces or operators to sign up in properties which are fully compliant, which offer additional benefits in terms of certifications. There is just going to be more and more in-depth evolvement and coming of age of technology and sustainability going hand in hand for occupiers in times to come.
I think those are some very relevant points for any flex operators who want to stay relevant in current times. Uh, Suprita, my next question is around a trend that we've been seeing lately. Because of hybrid work coming in, a lot of companies, a lot of corporates are now quite comfortably, expanding their offices beyond tier one cities to tier two cities and tier three cities as well. What is your take on this trend? And do you think that flex operators are playing an important role here in facilitating this transition from metros to non metros?
This is a very interesting and with the times question, Sukirti. Yes, with the evolved occupier sentiment and the pandemic and the whole hybrid workplace strategy, we have seen an increased rise in demand for tier two cities. Let me give you an example that I actually have faced with one of my CRE occupier who's been facing a situation at his end. Basically, a lot of staff at their end had moved on to their tier two or native cities during the pandemic. And now people either want to continue to work from home or at max are looking at a hybrid workplace model. So to support that, and this is just one example, but it is also a trend that we see, occupiers have started following a hub and spoke model. What I mean by hub and spoke is that there would be a hub, which is a corporate office in a metro city such as Delhi NCR. And to support the staff which has moved and is a little reluctant to come back even now, there are these spoke or satellite offices being opened up in tier two cities in order to have a return to work in place gradually. And some of the North Indian tier two markets which are gaining prominence in this regard are Jaipur, Chandigarh, Kanpur, Lucknow, amongst others. Also, we do believe that operators or flex workspace providers will have to up their game by thinking ahead and signing up spaces in tier two cities in terms of the demand backed, demand which is there already, like the ones I mentioned, along with some sort of aspirational capacity, which may also get signed or leased up very quickly in keeping with the trend. So that is what we believe with regard to tier two is a phenomenon which is here to stay for some time.
Thank you, Suprita, for highlighting what's contributing to the growth of flex spaces in Delhi NCR. We know that you are a travel enthusiast and love traveling internationally and in India to explore the cultural differences that make each place so unique. Please tell us how traveling has impacted you in your personal and professional life.
Okay, the world is very large out there, isn't it? And I actually got introduced to traveling by my father, who's an avid traveler. And I've also, moved a lot of locations in my early years as I'm a defense kid. So I do believe that professionally, travel has made me a lot more open and accommodating. Also, there is so much that it adds to one's overall mindset. There are people you meet of different cultures and how they deal with a certain situation and what you learn and what you pick up, I believe is something that I've been able to add to my, to myself. Personally, I think travel gives me the much needed break or getaway from, the routine schedule that we follow. And that is very essential because when you come back a lot more motivated, a lot more charged, a lot more ready to take on deals and transactions. The other thing I think travel has done personally is that it has added to my network of people. There are people that you meet in different walks of life when you travel. So I've added to my network. And I think I'd be lying if I don't call out two things on a lighter note. One is that I'm a big fan of pictures. So it gives me a lot of the amazing memories that you create are captured and you have, photographs to always look back upon. And shopping. So I love to pick up souvenirs from whichever location I visited. And yeah, uh, that's how I will summarize travel personally and professionally.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing these very interesting aspects of your personal and professional life with us. And before we conclude today's session, I have one last question for you, Suprita. You're a successful CRE leader, women CRE leader. So, what are your top three recommendations for other aspiring women leaders in the CRE space?
Now that's got me thinking. And I'll just go with my gut and whatever's come to me right up front. So I'd say, and also, Sukirti, isn't this something where each one of us is always learning? I mean, something that would have been relevant to me in my career 5 years back may not be the case today. And so what I'll call out in terms of top three recommendations, what I believe today is perseverance, in all that one does. So I believe ours is a very people-centric business. And I would say one should always nurture relationships. What could start small could become very big. And, one would never really know. In my personal career, two of my largest corporate real estate transactions that I've done in New Delhi, marquee transactions, have been relationships that started ages back and resulted in major business probably a decade later. So that's a key learning for me. The second is multitasking and always think ahead. I think that's very essential and key for our roles. Always thinking ahead as to what next. How can we differentiate ourselves from competition? What can we do to enhance our customers' satisfaction? How can we maximize fee? What kind of property can one pitch which is out of box, not in the market, and etc. The idea is that one always has to ideate, innovate, keep thinking ahead. And lastly, resilience. I think the pandemic has taught all of us that, and no better place than what we do to, sort of imbibe and keep that going. If one thing doesn't work, let it go. There'll be something next which will come up. Of course, efforts are very important. And so basically keep the faith and make it happen is something that I believe in. So yeah.
Thank you again, Suprita, for sharing your wonderful insights with us.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. And thank you for having me here, Sukirti. It was wonderful.
With this, we conclude today's discussion. I'd also like to thank our wonderful audience for listening in. We'll be back with another engaging discussion with the leading CRE experts soon. Till then, take care and stay safe.